What's going on, family? My name is Aaron. I go by the name of Aaron Real Talking. Thank you guys for being with me again today. Make sure you like, follow, and share. I appreciate it. One time for the algorithm, man. Today, we're going to be reacting to Pastor Joseph. We're going to be reacting to Pastor Joseph. He said something to me, man, that when I was scrolling on social media, I seen it. I was like, well, hold on. I need to talk about this. Is everything really abuse? Is everything really abuse, right? Abuse versus accountability. Where is the line drawn, right? So we're going to watch this video. This video has a lot of people fired up, and honestly, I understand why. So let's watch the video and check it out. We're going to react to it.
Some of you need to hear this. Not everything your parents did to you was abuse. We're living in a generation where the word abuse gets thrown around so loosely that it's almost lost its meaning. Your parents cut you off financially, that ain't abuse. They took away your car because you refused to work, and that's not abuse. They made...
Hey, y'all know I agree with all this. I agree with all this. Not everything your parents did was abuse, right? I agree with that. Every disagreement is an abuse. Every rule is an abuse. Every time your parent tell your big grown ass you need to go out and get a damn job, that is not abuse. You know what I mean? Everything is not abuse. Because she told you to make sure you clean up after yourself, your mama did, that's not abuse. Every no isn't trauma. Somewhere along the way, we've started putting consequences and abuse into the same category, and those are not the same thing.
Made you get a job. They expected you to obey the rules of their home. They told you no. They grounded you. They took away your phone. They made you pay your own bills after you became an adult. None of those things are abuse. You know what it's called? Parenting. Now listen carefully. Well, what am I talking about? It's already too late. Some of you have already stopped watching the video. You're headed...
Hey, let me say this too. So I know a lot of adult children, you're finna be surprised I'm finna say this. Just because something wasn't abuse doesn't automatically mean it wasn't healthy. It was healthy. All right, just because something wasn't abuse doesn't automatically mean it was healthy. There are parents who weren't abusive, but they were emotionally unavailable, right? Parents who loved their children, but never apologized. Y'all got to realize something. I always tell y'all, man, one thing I can tell you about us parents, us Gen X and Gen Z and whatever the hell it may be, we stubborn as hell. We are stubborn as hell, right? Parents who provided everything financially, but their children never felt emotionally safe. That's the reality of it. Those things matter too. I just want to tell you that real quick.
Straight to the comments to make your case already. It's okay. When you throw a rock into a pack of dogs, the one who got hit yelps. I'll know who got hit with the message. You'll be able to tell too. Just go read the comments. But let me go ahead and qualify what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about children who were physically beaten, sexually abused, emotionally terrorized, truly neglected. I'm talking true abuse. I'm not talking about an alcoholic or a drug-addicted parent. That's not what I'm talking about. I know that real abuse exists and it wounds very deeply. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who label every consequence as trauma because you didn't like being told no.
Hey, expecting respect is an abuse. Having rules is an abuse. Making your teenager get a job is an abuse. That's called preparing someone for adulthood, right? That's what that is.
There is a huge difference. And here's why it matters. If you convince yourself that every act of discipline was abuse, you're going to spend your entire life angry at parents who actually may have been trying to help you prepare for the real world. The Bible tells us in Ephesians chapter 6 that fathers are to raise their children in the discipline and the instruction of the Lord. Discipline isn't cruelty. Discipline is love with boundaries. And most of you that have cut your parents off are so angry and bitter and eat up on the inside. And your real problem isn't bad parents, it's forgiveness. Maybe your parents weren't perfect. Mine weren't. Yours weren't. No parent is. Maybe they lost their temper. Maybe they made mistakes. Maybe they said things they wish they could take back. I know I have. Forgiveness doesn't mean they were right. Get that through your head. Forgiveness means refusing to let bitterness continue controlling your life. anger controlling your life, if they truly sinned against you, forgive them. If they simply held you accountable, maybe it's time to stop calling it abuse. Sometimes the greatest prison isn't what happened to you. It's refusing to let it go. Look, I want to give you some steps. Here's what I want you to do today. Number one, be honest about your childhood. Be honest. Separate actual abuse from discipline and consequences. Number two, if your parents genuinely sinned against you, I'm going to challenge you to choose forgiveness, not because they deserve it, but because Christ has forgiven you. And then number three, if your parents simply expected responsibility, you need to thank God for parents who loved you enough to tell you no. Because the world does not need another generation of victims. You know what it needs? It needs another generation of adults who can tell the difference between abuse and accountability. Hope this helps you.
Ooh. But here's something I also tell parents every day. Just because you meant well doesn't mean your child experienced it that way. Just because you meant well doesn't mean your child experienced it that way. Intent matters. Impact matters too. Mature families are willing to talk about both. The forgiveness aspect, right? Like he talked about forgiveness. He talks about that. As a Christian, I believe forgiveness matters. But forgiveness and reconnection aren't identical twins. You can forgive someone and still need time to rebuild trust. That's true whether you're the parent or the adult child, right? That's true. The only piece I'd push back on is when he says most adult children who go no contact are bitter. I don't know that we can say most. Some are. I know, y'all know I talk to plenty of them. Some are. Some have legitimate wounds. Some were influenced by people around them. Some left because they never learned conflict resolution. Every family has its own story. One of the biggest mistakes I see online is that everyone wants one answer. Parents want every no contact story to mean the child was manipulated. Adult children want every difficult parent to be labeled abusive. Real life doesn't work like that. Sometimes parents fail. Sometimes adult children fail. Sometimes both have work to do, right? Now, here's the question I want to leave you with today. If someone watched your family for 18 years, would they call it abuse or would they call it parenting? Right? That's a much harder question than social media makes it seem like, right? I love to hear your thoughts. Love to hear your thoughts. Hey, once again, guys, I appreciate y'all rocking with your boy. Make sure you like, follow, and share for more content. And once again, thank you, guys.